What's up, Trojans? Want to make a video. I know it's been a while, but the Giants have been making a lot of coaching changes this offseason, and the Giants now have a new defensive coordinator, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, bringing a new style of defense to this team. And I thought Wink Martindale was great last year, but he ended up quitting after Dable fired the linebackers coach, who Wink Martindale was friends with. And apparently, according to a few reports, Wink and Dable didn't get along that well. So, yeah, Wink ended up quitting, and Dable needed to find a new defensive coordinator, and he finally did. A guy coming in from the Tennessee Titans, and we'll see how he does. Apparently, he's going to run a bit more conservative looking of a defense, kind of a bit more of a Patrick Graham style, if any of the, Titans defensive styles are to be taken into his style of defense. But we'll see what he ends up doing. I'm open to some changes on defense, but I really did like the blitz-happy approach that Wink had last year. It resulted in a lot of turnovers, a good number of sacks for Thibodeau. We'll see what happens, though. Wink Martindale isn't known for producing 10-sack-a-year players. Maybe with, this new defensive coordinator coming in, he'll really just let Thibodeau do his thing. Maybe Thibodeau will end up getting even more sacks. Maybe he'll get up to 20, Looking on the bright side for now. I have no idea what this guy's going to bring. A bunch of other coaching changes, though. Obviously, just based on how the team was performing throughout the year and everything. New offensive line coach, new special teams coach. I think everyone saw that coming. Offensive line coach, apparently, is pretty good. So, that's always ideal. And the most interesting thing, in my opinion, is the Giants promoted a bunch of coaches from within, but they didn't promote them up a level. Like Mike Kafka was going to go interview to be an offensive coordinator for a different team. He was going to make a lateral move, potentially, away from the Giants. But the Giants vetoed that because you're allowed to deny interviews to teams for your coaches. And if anyone tries to, contact a player in before free agency, that's tampering. So you're not allowed to do that at all. But with the coaches, the teams have the power to veto it upon getting a request for an interview. And the Giants did that. And so Mike Kafka's coming back. And it seems like they may have worked out some sort of deal because he's got the new title of assistant head coach on top of being an offensive coordinator for the team this upcoming season. I don't know. That just seems really interesting to me. I feel like maybe that is... I don't know for sure. I don't know any of these guys' salaries, except for I think the Giants give Dable $15 million a year. I don't know any of the assistant coaches' salaries, but I assume that's just done to give him more money. And they also did that with the cornerbacks coach. They made him the defensive passing game coordinator. And the quarterback coach, they made him the offensive passing game coordinator. I don't know. I definitely like the idea of rewarding the guys that seemed to do well last season. You might be like, oh, no, we didn't have great quarterback play last year. And it's like, yeah, we didn't necessarily, but this quarterback's coach had to help get 3 guys ready to start for the team. And, potentially, I think at one point, we had a different guy as a backup even. I want to say his name was Barkley. Matt Barkley was going to be the quarterback potentially for the Giants if DeVito went down in one of the games. So he was training a lot of guys to play quarterback for this team. And, presumably did a good enough job to get something of a minor promotion or major promotion. I don't know what sort of pay increase it entails. Same thing with the cornerbacks coach. Deontay Banks came on the scene, did well. I think that warrants a nice pat on the back for the cornerbacks coach. Kafka, as always, as I've explained before, he's a very up-and-down type guy, but I see why the Giants would want to keep him around. We'll see what he does this year. Otherwise, I think there are, the Giants did hire a new linebackers coach. I think the Giants coaching thing is completely set now. So, we'll see how it plays out heading into the draft and next year. I'm hoping it brings a fresh new vibe to some of these position groups and, the defense. Maybe get to see some more sacks by a couple defensive linemen, Dexter Lawrence and Thibodeau, to be specific. Maybe see, some interceptions by the corners. I thought, there was a decent number last season because Martindale definitely forced some turnovers. I don't think the Titans were known for doing that last year necessarily, but, you run different schemes on a different team. You have different players. All these things can be up in the air. Hopefully, the defensive play actually improves next year. Same thing with the offensive play. Maybe Kafka didn't have enough. Maybe the issue was Dable was vetoing too many of Kafka's calls. Yeah, no, I doubt that's the case. I mean, come on. With the Cardinals game, Kafka called the entire first half, it looked like, and then Dable picks up the playbook in the second half, and the team puts up over 30 points in the game. I don't think that's just a complete coincidence. But, we'll see what happens this season. Hopefully the team's much better. Get some new coaches in there, some new perspectives, some fresh ideas, and that heads into the draft. What are the Giants looking for in the draft? I'd be open for a quarterback or a wide receiver in the first round. Otherwise, get the two lines, perfect. I like a guy like Azeez Ojulari currently on the Giants. I think he definitely has the potential to get a decent number of sacks. He knows how to get back there pretty well. But his issue is he can't stay on the field. Maybe get, just a nice backup edge rusher in a later round. Free agency's coming up as well. And the coaches, they definitely give their opinions on these things. You ask, the linebackers coach what kind of linebacker he wants. You ask the defensive coordinator what he might want. You got to consult these coaches because ultimately they're the guys coaching the players. So they'll be heavily involved, presumably. And we'll see what the Giants do. I'm looking, as I said before, maybe a guy like Jaden Daniels early in the draft this year. The Giants have the 6th overall pick. It's going to be interesting to see how the quarterback situation plays out because Williams, May, and Daniels are 3 quarterbacks that people have pretty high on their boards going into it. And so one of those guys would have to drop for the Giants to be able to get them at 6. But, let's say Joe Shane can't make a trade and all 3 of those guys go right away. I'm okay with getting a guy like Malik Neighbors out of LSU as well. A number 1 wide receiver could help this team out a lot. And, it's weird to say it like this because I feel like it's been said the last, 8 years. I know, it's been said, 3-4 years now of Daniel Jones. But, this is the season he's got to prove himself that, if the Giants go out and they get a guy like Neighbors in the first, or, even somehow if Harrison falls, or, I may pronounce his name wrong, but Adunze. If any of those wide receivers, gets drafted by the Giants, it's going to be an interesting situation for Daniel Jones because he's going to run out of excuses real quick, especially if the Giants are also able to pick up some nice guards in free agency, maybe late in the draft as well. Daniel Jones is going to run out of excuses really quick. And also, Saquon Barkley, he's got to be in negotiations with the Giants at this point. I really hope he comes back. Nothing has been announced either way, to my knowledge at this time. I'm hoping Saquon Barkley comes back. Worst comes to worst, I suppose, franchise tag, but that would just be killer for both him and the Giants at this point. I think it's much better for everybody if they get a nice 3-year deal worked out, maybe where you could technically cut him after the 3rd year, but, it's not ideal, about a half cap hit on the 3rd year, but I would like him to have 2 years guaranteed. His market probably isn't where it was at last year, where he was healthy all year and putting up some really great numbers, but he was still a really competent back last year and definitely deserves a decent paycheck. The way he runs for this team, the way he's been running for this team ever since the Giants drafted him 2nd overall. A few other things. Pro Bowl. The Giants only had representation from Dexter Lawrence at the Pro Bowl. It's kind of a shame that the Giants didn't get a bit more representation there, but Dexter Lawrence definitely deserved it. And same thing at All-Pro. It was just Dexter Lawrence. So it'll be interesting what the Giants do in the offseason. Free agency, definitely need some offensive linemen. Maybe an edge rusher, Azeez Ojulari. He has some issues staying healthy. I like him as an edge, but Giants could use another guy. At the very least, just a very competent backup, because he is very likely to get injured. Maybe if you get a guy that's like 26 as a competent backup, he could easily come in and just take the starting job if Azeez gets way too injured or doesn't perform well. But I feel like Azeez is just used as a backup now anyway. So, that's just me judging from how often I see him on the field when I do see him on the active list. So, yeah, probably an edge rusher the Giants will want to get. Maybe really lock down someone next to Dexter Lawrence if the Giants end up running more of a 4-3. And, then a wide receiver. That's why I'm open to drafting a guy right there, 6th overall in the draft. Get a great wide receiver. The last guy that was number 1 wide receiver coming out of LSU, Jamar Chase. And let's not forget, Odell Beckham Jr. came from LSU. So LSU is known for producing a really good NFL wide receiver every now and then. Hopefully, if the Giants do go out and get Neighbors, we'd have the same luck in that LSU drafting thing. If not, there's some quarterbacks in the draft. I'd be open to that because Daniel Jones has not explicitly proven himself at this point in his career to be a franchise quarterback. It looked like he might have been ending the 2022 season. The Giants rewarded him with a nice contract for that. But this season, in the times he was healthy and starting, he did not prove it at all. He proved it in 2 quarters of football. He looked like a great quarterback in 2 quarters of football this season. Yep. So, a lot on General Manager Joe Schoen's mind this offseason. A few easy fixes, as I mentioned before, getting another wide receiver in the mix, another offensive lineman for sure, maybe a couple offensive linemen. He has committed to getting a quarterback, whether that be a competent backup because Jones has an injury history or a new starter. And, defense could always use some help, maybe another nice linebacker. You have Okereke and McFadden, but you can never have too many linebackers, right? Maybe more like a safety linebacker type. Always get a guy like that in there, especially if the Giants can't come to terms with Xavier McKinney, who is another guy I would like the Giants to bring back, but I don't know if the safety market is there for either the Giants or McKinney, so that'll be interesting. I'm still hopeful for next season and just, very interested to see what the Giants do in the offseason. Next video probably come out after the Super Bowl. Good old Chiefs 49ers going at it. But I don't know if I'm going to really do a Super Bowl recap or anything. Not really invest in either of those teams. So I do want to get a video up in the near future, though. But that one will be a video I promised a while back. The 2022 Giants season recap. Again, I know. But I really just want to make the case that team was a legit team. I feel like a lot of people at some point, in the 2023 season last year, or I guess technically still this year, it's still going on, but in Giants terms, I'm meaning last year. I'm already on the offseason. We're not in the Super Bowl. The 2023 team, at some point, fans were watching that, and I saw a lot of people say, oh, man, this really exposes last year's team, and just a lot of stuff like that. I really want to disprove that. I think in 2023 season, just a lot of things got unlucky for the Giants. A few guys you really wanted to perform didn't quite perform, and I don't think that exposes the team of 2022. It was, in my opinion, a healthier team in the areas that counted, and you had some guys just play better. It happens. Humans are humans. It's tough to go out there and be consistent on every single play 100% of the time. That's why we all marvel when there's a kicker that's able to actually do it, because it's that tough. I want to make a full video just going over all my reasoning for that, and I plan to do that in the near future. So, with that being said, see you guys in the next one.